Good evening, I'm Alejandra Briones. Tonight, a News Channel 9 exclusive, a first-hand look at the text messages that appear to show some city council members planning to meet without the public's knowledge at the Indigo Hotel about the controversial downtown arena. News Channel 9, through more than a dozen open records requests, is the only station that has the text messages of city council members Courtney Nylund, Lily Lamone, and Jim Tolbert. We can also see the heavy involvement of Max Grossman from the County Historical Commission, a main driver of pushing council to dump the Duranguito arena site. It's a story you'll only see on News Channel 9. In this text from Lily Lamone to Courtney Nylund, Lamone says she spoke to the mayor who wants to meet her at 10. I will join you then, Lamone texts. See you at 8:55. Good night. Nylund responds, see you mañana at 8:55 Indigo. Look at the timestamp and date. It's December 15th, the same day Nylund was alerted that a RICO was filed against her for her participation in placing the arena in the Duranguito neighborhood. At the same time, Jim Tolbert gets a carbon copy text from Lamone. Tolbert responds, as long as we are on for 9, the mayor's meeting will be moot. Lamone responds, true, mission will be completed. In another text between Tolbert and Lamone, Tolbert tells her, I cannot be at your meeting because of a quorum. At least give me the courtesy of a call afterwards. The next day, Friday the 16th, Lamone and Tolbert continue texting. He's looking to add more citizens to the conversation at the Indigo. Tolbert says, I just don't want the mayor to be included in case he tries to butt in. But Tolbert would see the mayor. At approximately 9 a.m., council members Lamone, Tolbert, and Peter Schwarzbein met with Max Grossman of the County Historical Commission and several El Pasoans at the hotel. This video, obtained exclusively by News Channel 9, shows the group arriving about an hour later at City Hall. Video shot from the camera outside the mayor's office shows Mayor Oscar Leeser walking in, as does Councilwoman Courtney Nylund, Lamone, Tolbert, Schwarzbein, Grossman, his supporters, and members of the El Paso Times. The group has said they rotated in and out to avoid breaking the Open Meeting Act. There is no sound on the video, so we don't know what is discussed in the hallway. But later, we can see the group of council members leaving. By Monday, Grossman texts Lamone, and it appears he's talking about the next day's council meeting. I hope we are still good. Courtney and Jim are telling us about heavy pushback. Lamone responds, my feet are firmly planted. Grossman texts back, good, I'm glad we can count on you. I will tell our organizers. Peter and Jim are certainly on board. Not sure about Courtney. Sure, Ayub and Cook oppose us, but they are outnumbered 100-1. I will be reading a statement from our attorneys. Thanks, Max. Schur and Cook are Jim Schur and former Mayor John Cook, who publicly testified at council against moving the arena out of Duranguito. And as we now know, the same council members who were at the Indigo and City Hall meetings, aside from Courtney Nylund, are the same council members who voted to move the arena out of Duranguito. Nylund was not at that council meeting, citing an illness in her family.
Kicking off our team coverage tonight, my exclusive interview with City Rep Jim Tolbert about a possible ethics investigation regarding an arena meeting that was not made public. Tolbert inviting me into his home to talk about the text messages exclusively obtained by News Channel 9 and if he, the mayor, and other members of council did anything wrong. So you stand behind these text messages?
Sure.
Not embarrassed by them?
No.
Not ashamed by them?
No.
Don't think that they're going to show anything wrong?
No.
A series of no's from El Paso City Rep Jim Tolbert about the exclusive text messages obtained by News Channel 9 that appear to show him, City Rep Lily Lamone, and who they say is the mayor talking about a non-public arena meeting. It appears that you guys knew that you were involved in a rolling quorum, which is not allowed.
That's not true.
Here's the text between Tolbert and who he says is the mayor. Tolbert saying he can't be at the meeting in the mayor's office because of a quorum. The responding text saying, if you want to come, I'll step out.
There was never any intention to try to avoid a quorum, nor was there any intention to to have more than four people, 3 or 4 people.
But that's not what these texts between you
No, that's exactly what it suggests.
Here's what the video shows. That's Tolbert at the door of the mayor's office at 10:15 a.m. He's there about a minute, leaves, but comes back at 10:47 and this time goes inside.
I went to the mayor's office after I had left and he had said, hey, come on back. All right? But
For what reason? Because you didn't want to have it. You didn't want to.
I felt like I needed to be part of it. But if there was going to be a quorum, no, I certainly wasn't going to be back there.
News Channel 9 also exclusively obtaining this letter from County Commissioner Vince Bettis. His wife sits on council with Tolbert. In the letter, the commissioner asks El Paso DA Jaime Esparza to investigate this meeting. What is your reaction to Commissioner Bettis asking the DA to investigate you guys for ethics violations?
all that means is that it's one more person who's going to say there's nothing here.
Now here's something to keep in mind for background. Jim Tolbert won his city council seat after he helped launch an ethics investigation against Larry Romero, who was the District 2 rep at the time. The exclusive text messages that we shared with you last night not only involved Jim Tolbert, but City Rep Lily Limon. This morning, she made a serious allegation, one that you heard Tolbert just affirm as well, that the mayor texted Tolbert saying, quote, "If you want to be part of the meeting, I will step out. I just didn't want to have any questions regarding quorum." News Channel 9's Stephanie Seyfert continues our team coverage. She's in the newsroom. Steph, what does Limon have to say?
Limon's assistant reached out to us early Thursday morning requesting we change our web story regarding the text which had been attributed to her and telling us Limon was eager to speak with us. I spent my day at City Hall and then went to Limon's house to give her that chance to respond, and still no response. Thursday morning, after News Channel 9 revealed text messages exchanged between city council members showing the possibility of a rolling quorum, Representative Lily Limon's office called our newsroom saying that this text did not come from her, but rather the mayor. I tried speaking with Limon at City Hall, but was not allowed to make it past the main lobby. Later, Limon's assistant, who assured us Limon would speak with us, came down and told me Limon would not talk.
And I'm trying to get some response, some answers.
I know, that's why she wanted to at least give you a statement. She didn't want to say, no comment.
In the statement, Limon says she does not want public comments to obstruct or alter the view of an ethics complaint that has been filed against her. I waited for Limon after hours outside City Hall and even went to her house. She never talked.
I was looking for Ms. Limon.
She's at a function.
She's at a function right now?
Yeah.
We've worked equally hard to get in touch with Mayor Oscar Leeser about Tolbert and Limon's claims. Leeser is in Phoenix, and though we've reached out to him, he has not returned our calls or texts. Reporting from the newsroom, Estefania Seyfert, News Channel 9.
All right, Steph, thank you. News Channel 9 has filed roughly 20 open records requests in the last 3 weeks, all related to the arena project and possible ethics violations. Well, that is what the city returned in response to just one of those requests, nearly 1,400 pages, which is roughly the equivalent of 3 reams of paper. We continue to go through these documents to get you answers and hold our city leaders accountable.
The possible violations of the Open Meetings Act are serious. We talked with an attorney from the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas tonight, who specializes in making sure that open records by governmental agencies are followed. After speaking with him, turns out it's not just some members of the city council and the mayor that could be in trouble.
You can't have 4 members meet and then one leave and then a 5th one come in to the meeting and discuss the same stuff.
Looking at this surveillance video again that News Channel 9 obtained from an open records request, you can see 4 city council members and Mayor Oscar Leeser.
Yes, on the face of it, it appears to be a pretty flagrant violation of the rolling quorum prohibition in the Open Meetings Act.
Texas Freedom of Information Foundation attorney Bill Ailshire, in his expert opinion, believes the group conspired to skirt the Texas Open Meetings Act.
The problem that's going on right now is that a complaint was filed with the City Ethics Commission, who has no jurisdiction over this.
Ailshire says the ethics complaint filed against these 4 council members and the mayor should have never been given to the city's attorney, Sylvia Firth.
I would call this a conflict of interest for her, specifically because she also advises the mayor and council about compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And so either she has ill-advised them or they're not following her advice, and she's still their lawyer.
Ailshire says by law, Firth should have recused herself and given the complaint directly to District Attorney Jaime Esparza.
The city attorney has violated the city's ethics ordinance by being involved in the complaint processing at all.
And these charges are misdemeanor crimes that come with the possibility of 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $500.
Two of the loudest opponents of the $180 million downtown arena were voted out of the County Historical Commission Monday afternoon.
Put in 33,000 hours of volunteer work in 17 years for this commission. That's worth almost $750,000.
Although commissioners wouldn't say why the group's chair, Bernie Sargent, and Grossman were among those not reappointed.
The will of the Commissioners Court was to take a different direction, and so that's where we are.
A possible violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act could have been a factor.
I mean, there were suspicions, but I didn't expect that they would go this far.
The violation allegedly happened when the Historical Commission used email rather than an in-person vote regarding the arena location.
Our chair sent an email out to our group asking whether we supported locating the arena in Duranguito, and unanimously we responded no. We don't support that.
But our open records request turned up a different result. According to this list from the county attorney, Joan Bernal, which we got through an open records request, there are 21 registered members. One of those members died last spring. Another resigned last year. That leaves 19 members, 10 who voted against the Duranguito site, 1 who was undecided, and of the 8 remaining members, no response.
There were procedural violations. We were never trained in the Texas Open Meetings Act like other boards.
Another possible reason for dropping Grossman and Sargent, the Texas Historic Commission delaying 9 new historical markers for El Paso last month over concerns on that same alleged violation.
Our dismissal has to do with a lot more than these unintentional violations of the Texas Open Meetings Act.
Dismissed and closed. That was the result of the ethics complaints that were filed against city council members and the mayor. I'm Don Guevara.
And I'm Farron Franzak. Tonight, the Ethics Commission met to discuss those complaints in the presence of outside counsel. News Channel 9's Stephania Seyfert was at that meeting, and she joins us in the studio now with more. Steph.
Yeah, these are 2 big complaints that we've been following, and they were dismissed, not because the Ethics Commission was unable to find wrongdoing, but because of a couple of technicalities. Questions on a possible ethics violation stemming from a confrontation at Time Matters restaurant and an alleged violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act were addressed in Thursday's Ethics Commission meeting. The complaint filed by former city rep Ann Morgan Lilly against Mayor Oscar Leeser is now a closed file.
We wrote to her and said we needed more information with regard to her complaint because it didn't go so far as to say what she thought was the ethics violation.
Lilly filed a complaint back in December saying Leeser abused his power by calling the police on her husband, Rut Lilly, and alleging assault of his wife when he and Rut allegedly argued about the location of the downtown arena.
By the ordinance, she had 15 business days to amend, and she did not. So we consider that matter to be closed now.
News Channel 9 asked Ann Morgan Lilly why she did not refile. She said she didn't because the district attorney did not pursue the assault allegation, saying there was no proof that happened. Also discussed the ethics complaint filed against the mayor and these 4 council members for an alleged rolling quorum at City Hall.
Allegations against the council members and the mayor all involve the Texas Open Meetings Act, which is a state statute. And under that statute, the enforcement of it is done in court, not in an ethics commission meeting.
Something that was argued back and forth between the commission and Austin attorney Alan Borquez, who was brought in as outside counsel. Borquez advised the commission to steer clear of reviewing state statutes, which they don't have jurisdiction over.
In El Paso, reviewing your ethics code, nothing about your ethics code implicates the Texas Open Meetings Act.
The reason why Borquez decided to dismiss Avila's complaint against the council members and the mayor. The ethics investigation is far from over. The mayor and city reps Lily Limon, Courtney Nylund, Jim Tolbert, and Peter Schwartzbein are still under investigation by the Texas Rangers. DA Jaime Esparza asked the Rangers to look into this matter. A decision from the Rangers could mean jail time if any of the 5 are found in violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act. In the studio, Estefania Seyfert, News Channel 9.
We brought this to you as breaking news on ElPasoProud.com. Tonight, team coverage. Reporter Corus Nylander on what a special election will cost city taxpayers. But we begin with News Channel 9's Patrick Hayes live with details of Nylund's tearful announcement. Patrick.
Successor is named. City Rep Courtney Nylund told us on Friday that she would be coming to City Council today, but she didn't tell us, or many others for that matter, that she would be turning in her letter of resignation. Now, Nylund made the surprise announcement before City went into executive session about 5 hours after the meeting started. As you can see, her announcement was very emotional, her voice often cracking. As we previously reported, Nylund cited a family emergency for numerous absences. Today, she publicly announced she was going through a divorce. She apologized for her absences, including one last month when she missed because she was selling her house.
At the outset of this personal crisis, I had hoped to fulfill my term, but the reality is that I need to put the interest of my family first, and service as a public figure is no longer feasible for me or fair to my constituents. Therefore, I have submitted my resignation from City Council to the Mayor today to allow an election of the District 8 seat to occur simultaneously with the upcoming election.
Nylund also said her original plan coming into the year was to run for mayor. Now she says she's looking for a full-time job. Today's announcement also came through this letter of resignation, and the mayor comments later tonight at 6. Reporting live in downtown El Paso, Patrick Hayes, News Channel 9.
All right, Patrick, thank you. So let's take a look at the makeup of City Council with Nylund out. That means 5 seats, as well as the mayor, are now up for grabs. Reps Peter Schwartzfein, Michael No, and Claudia Ordaz are in the middle of their terms. We are just 20 days away from the start of early voting. Of course, Nylund's announcement coming too late to add her seat to the ballot.
And that means that the city will have to run a special election to fill her vacancy, and that's going to cost money. News Channel 9's Corus Nylander joins us live in the studio now. Corus, how much are we looking at here for this new election?
Well, we're looking at upwards of $40,000, but this is where timing is really going to be critical with all of this. Now, the deadline for getting on the May ballot was in February. Obviously, that has come and gone. Early voting is in a few weeks now, and the election is on May 6th. Nylund's seat won't be on those May ballots, but could be on a ballot as early as June 10th, where a possible runoff election is already scheduled. Rashada Momsen, the city clerk, says if the city hits that June target date, there will be a very small cost, but if there is no citywide runoff where the city could scoot Nylund's district in, then the cost will be about $40,000 to $45,000. Should the people running for that seat then end up in their own runoff, you'd have to add an additional $40,000 to $45,000 to that. How do Nylund's constituents feel about all this tonight? Well, I spoke to some who are not very happy hearing that price tag and feel their sudden resignation is unprofessional.
You make a commitment, and you got to do it. Well, that's the period. You know, you committed to it. Do your job.
I mean, when you get appointed to an office like that, you should, put your personal problems aside.
As we reported, Nylund cites family problems for her stepping down. As we reported last week, she sold her Upper Valley home on March 21st to the daughter of Mayor Oscar Leeser. Nylund's the second midterm politician we see step down midterm. The last one was District 2 Rep Larry Romero, who had a stroke and stepped down last year. In the studio tonight, Corus Nylander, News Channel 9.
Meanwhile, Commissioner's Court is providing a new direction for the county's Historical Commission. You might remember earlier this year, commissioners decided not to reappoint the longtime chairman and vice chairman of the Historical Commission. Both Bernie Sargent and Max Grossman remain under investigation by the Texas Rangers for allegedly violating the Texas Open Meetings Act. Now, Grossman has said that the members of the Historical Commission never received any training on the Open Meetings Act. County commissioners want to make sure the members of the commission are aware of their duties and remind them that they do not represent the county unless Commissioner's Court tells them to do so.
There are a lot of new members on the County Historic Commission, and I'm optimistic that they're going to, I think, continue to be a very dynamic board where they promote and preserve our county's history.
Commissioners say they hope the new guidelines help create better collaboration between the county court and the Historical Commission.
This is News Channel 9 Breaking News.
We are following breaking news this afternoon. You've watched it on Facebook Live all morning long. Despite a court order, demolition has begun in the Duranguito neighborhood. Thanks for joining us for NC9 at noon. I'm Alejandra Briones. At least 6 buildings have been damaged. There is a heavy police presence as a crowd of protesters has grown from a handful to many more. NC9 at News' Corus Nylander was the first reporter on the scene. He's live from downtown El Paso now and begins our team coverage. Corus, what is happening?
Well, still very tense and a very tense morning here in the Duranguito neighborhood, and lots of information to give you this afternoon. But what's clearly starting all this is destruction to buildings just like this one. I've counted 6 buildings like this damaged, catching the opponents of the arena being in this area completely off guard this morning. All this apparently happening just after 7:30 this morning, leaving them very upset and, as you can imagine, completely outraged, as they believed all of this was not going to happen. There would be no demolition to these buildings after a court order demanded they not be touched. The protesters here are very upset. Many I spoke to say they believe this was intentional, out of spite for winning that battle in court. Police on the scene pushing everyone back, including the media, onto the sidewalk, not letting up on that. One woman says she felt betrayed by the city.
I find it being aggressive, and I find, but why can it collapse?
Because the structure is already damaged right now.
Who damaged it?
Not there at 10 o'clock.
Who damaged it?
Right now. I want your side.
It's our concern. So I'm concerned about the building. If I pull away from the building, what's to say that the bulldozers won't come back?
They're just watching for our safety. Come on, guys. The police will be here. Come on.
And let the attorney representing their cause handle this. That attorney did arrive on scene here and says they are going to take this to court. They're going to take every action they can, possibly all the way up to the Texas Supreme Court if it takes that, to get some kind of what they see as justice in this case. They feel this is a criminal contempt matter. Lots of developing information continuing out there. We're continuing to follow this coverage. Reporting live in Union Plaza, Course Islander, NC9 at noon.
News Channel 9 is live at Breaking News right here in downtown El Paso, where an hours-long showdown has been brewing all day between protesters and police. Good evening, everyone. I'm Don Guevara.
And I'm Linda Ong. And just less than an hour ago, the arena opponents won a second court order stopping the city of El Paso from moving forward with any demolition. Now, News Channel 9, as we mentioned earlier, was the first and only station here for more than an hour as the situation was unfolding. Now, this all revolves around the proposed downtown arena, which would be built in this area you see there on your screen. Is bordered by San Antonio Avenue to the north, Pasano Drive to the south, South Durango Street to the west, and South Santa Fe Street to the east, all of which sits on this footprint.
Thank you. El Paso County Commissioner David Stout, who's been here all day, telling us that this is a slap in the face from the city to the people here in the community, and that the city is acting without transparency. Listen.
This is unconscionable. This is ridiculous. I don't know why they have to go to this these links. Hopefully some of the structures are still salvageable as we continue to fight this issue.
Stout adding that the city needs to respond and put a stop to this now.
So let's take a look at what has brought us to this point. This was the scene last night, which you're looking at your screen. People chanting "Fuera del Barrio," or out of the neighborhood, as work crews made their way out of the Duranguito neighborhood. This was after a court ruling ordered an indefinite halt on demolitions. Again, our crews were first on the scene this morning, and opponents of the downtown arena bright and early here to oppose, and also they were caught by surprise by the demolition.
This is all happening in District 8, which is represented by newly elected Rep. Sissy Lizarraga. She sent out a statement, and it reads in part, "I have introduced an agenda item to formalize immediately revocation of any existing demolition permits and a moratorium on the issuances of new demolition permits in the MPC footprint area and the Duranguito neighborhood of District 8. Now, the city of El Paso issuing a statement also on today's demolition in Duranguito, and the city telling us that they are complying with the order from the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, which halts demolition. The city has asked private property owners to also comply with that order. Here's what part of their statement says, quote, "Last night, the city attorney's office contacted the attorney representing the private property owners and requested that the property owners comply with the order, even though the property owners are not named in the order, and that the property owners not proceed with the demolition of the properties." Again, the city asking property owners out here not to proceed with demolition. However, property owners, according to the city, are free to do what they want with their properties. While our team coverage continues tonight,
with News Channel 9's Estefania Safer. She's in our studio with what we are learning from the city as far as their response, and with an exclusive interview you will only see on News Channel 9.
Don Linda, I'm joined by Mayor Margot. Mayor, thank you so much for being here with us. You know, just 2 hours ago, you and City Attorney Sylvia Firth had a news conference at City Hall to kind of clear up some of this confusion. Shortly after that, 40 minutes ago, Max Grossman said that the 8th Court of Appeals revoked the city's demo permits on these individual properties. What's the next move for the city?
Well, we'll abide by the order. I received word at 4:25 this afternoon about that revocation from the 8th Court of Appeals, and we'll abide by that. We were abiding by the temporary restraining order to begin with. People need to understand we don't own the properties. The way the properties were supposed to be transferred to us with title was after they were completely, the buildings were removed and they were present us with raw land. That was the terms of the sale. So, you know, we weren't controlling this at the time, and in the original temporary restraining order did not allow us the ability to preclude the owners from continuing the demolition. But we informed them last night and again this morning that we would prefer that they did not proceed. Yet their attorneys determined that the temporary restraining order applicable to the city was not applicable to them.
Well, you just mentioned the city does not own these properties, yet yesterday you told these property owners to stand in compliance with this order. Technically, they don't have to.
They didn't have to. They didn't have to. It was our wish, given the emotions of that was and the events that were happening, that it was in the best interest for all concerned for them to stand down and wait till we have the final decisions from the courts. But it was their decision not to, and the city had no control over that decision that the owners made.
Mayor, you now have buildings that have holes in them. Is this something that the city will now require these property owners to repair these buildings, or will the city issue condemnation orders for these properties?
I don't know what happens next, but frankly, given the all the legal issues, we're still trying to, we're still trying to have a multi-purpose arena in that area, a multi-purpose performing arts center. I don't know what will happen next, but the important thing is they need to be fenced off and protect, and public safety needs to dictate.
How do you feel today's events have changed or will change the people's perspective on the city and its leadership?
Well, I don't know whether the two connect. I mean, this is an issue of some very emotional folks. One of my dilemmas is we have the 2012 quality of life bond election was voted on and passed by 72% of our voters. Now you can argue the turnout, you can argue the case, you can argue all of that, but the point was in November of 2012, 72% who voted for the quality of life bond election voted for the multi-purpose special events center. In order to do it, to maximize the return, it's got to be within 1,000 feet of the convention center to be able to take advantage of sales tax revenues coming from rebates coming from the state to make it work. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And so my question is, at what point in time do elected city representatives and others not have a fiduciary duty to follow through with the wishes of the voters? Voters spoke very clearly.
And what do you say to the demonstrations that are going on right now with the people that are opposed to it being in Duranguito?
I think it's appropriate that people can be opposed to any particular issue or item, but they need to protest properly. I understand from some police that things were being thrown at them, and that's just inappropriate. Our leadership down there, our elected leadership, Commissioner Stout and State Senator Rodriguez need to be taking a lead if they're going to be there all day and calming the crowd and informing them that they shouldn't be throwing things at the police. They should abide. They shouldn't be taking fences down, things of that nature, irrespective of how emotional it is.
Mayor, once again, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and send things back to you all, but for now in the studio, Stephanie and Seifert.
All right, Steph, thank you. Well, a lot of you have been very active on Facebook letting us know what you think about this entire situation. We have some of those comments to share with you right now. Cassandra Acosta saying, I don't understand why they're fighting so hard now. These buildings have been neglected and run down for more than 20 years. Another comment saying, I'm crying right now. Other cities have historical sites and still able to make profit. Tourists seem to enjoy history, but not here in El Paso. Why?
And then Mike Lozada says the people who lived there never cared, but as soon as one person with a personal investing interest says something, now everybody wants to save the neighborhood.
And of course, we will continue to follow this story. We have been on it all day long, starting from this morning, updating you through social media. Make sure you download our app and follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay connected with the latest.